When did you first come across Ultravox?
I got into synthesizers in my own right. Immediately went out and started looking for other electronic type things, and found Systems of Romance. Went to see them. I can't remember where. Marquee, probably. Normally the Marquee. Loved it. I don't know if I bought all their albums at the same time or just Systems of Romance, but it was it was a really important record for me. It was light years ahead of anything else that I'd heard at that time. You know, mixing electronics and conventional instrumentation. It became the standard for me. The standard to aim at, and just thought it was just the most brilliant bit of music. It's years ahead of its time. And they seem to have been working on that kind of in isolation. There wasn't an electronic movement as such. Yeah. They were just out there on their own, and I think Systems of Romance was like their third album. So that, they've been doing it for a bit when I found them, and quite experienced at it by then. And then I went to see them, and live it was even better. And John Foxx looked great on the album cover, and was even better to watch. It really, one of those sort of genuinely enigmatic sort of people. And I remember I was sort of quite, I thought it was brilliant and also intimidated at the same time. One of those sort of people that you wouldn't know what to say when you met them, which I didn't when I met him. So it was great. Probably the most important band of my life right up until, I don't know, mid-90s, when the Depeche Mode thing came along.
And did you go back to other stuff like Young Savage? Did you hear that stuff, Hiroshima and Monomore? Yeah. My Sex and all that? Yeah,
well, My Sex, and absolutely. I had everything. I checked everything out. I went to every gig they did in London around. I was at everything. I've seen them lots of times. This is all John Foxx, Ultravox. I never was really that bothered about the other one. But whenever they played, I would go and see them. It was my favourite band for all through that period, and to this day I still think of that in that era. Out of all of us, they were by far the best. Me, Human League, any of us. I think Ultravox were head and shoulders above all of us.
Did you meet John Foxx then only after you got famous, was it?
No, just after I got famous. So somebody said something in the music press. The journalist said something nasty, and John worded a letter which we both signed. I don't think I even met him even then, actually. And we're just proud to be a part of it. I've always been, I probably would be even now, I would be slightly nervous about talking to John. First of all, he's highly intellectual, and I still have that thing. Yeah. I've still got that. I'm in the audience and I'm looking up at him. And he was, Ultravox were groundbreaking. Ultravox genuinely did a lot of the things that I get credit for. And I, not that I'm embarrassed about that or anything, but he is genuinely highly creative and highly inventive, and I've always felt like the Young Pretenders still do, really.
You've said you felt Ultravox didn't break through because they didn't get the image right. Was that how you? Yeah,
I do. I thought of that at the time, and I think there's quite possibly a lot of truth in that. Yeah, that's what I felt at the time. I remember seeing them because they got our Rebel Success as well, and the way they looked and the stuff that they sang about, it didn't work. And John Foxx was a very interesting looking bloke, and he was a really, really good front man. And I always felt that if there'd just been a little bit more thought put into presentation, then it would have just struck all those chords that I did when I come along. And I thought then that was the one thing that they didn't get right, and probably the one thing that stopped that particular incarnation of Ultravox from doing far better than it did. Quite possibly that's absolute rubbish. But I felt like that then, because to me it was the only thing that was missing. It really was. Everything else was perfect. Music was great. You got a great singer at the front. Looks really good, interesting. Very unique voice that could genuinely sing. It had everything. It had everything you wanted, except there was that visual thing didn't quite work.
But were you also aware of the sort of art side of John at that point when he was writing?
No, not at all. No, none of that. I was just, I just bought the albums, liked the music, went to see them live, and it kind of stopped there really. And then I carried on with doing my own thing. So I didn't get into them as like an obsessed fan kind of way, where I knew all their mums' names and where they lived, what their dogs were called, what their favourite colour was. None of that. I didn't get into any of that. Didn't stalk anybody. So no, it was quite a basic. I like the music, and it sort of stopped there for me.
Is it true also that you went to a party where Billy had the 12-inch version of Dislocation?
Yeah, I think that might have been something to do with Rusty Egan as well. There was some get together where he had it. Yeah, I can't remember why that's important, but I remember at the time. It's one of those things where you suddenly feel part of something which is very, very exclusive before, and you always felt like you was on the outside, and now here you are and you're actually there, and now there's just these things which are just like almost like little magical things, and like magic tokens of some kind. It just felt very cool to be a part of it. I can't remember anything more about it, what sort of party it was, or anything like that, but just to be in amongst proper bands with real records, and so all of a sudden you're in a completely different league to playing in the open anchor, with no record deal, and it just you're at a different level, and it just felt exclusive and special.